3 years ago, I was trapped. I could not function without having 3 cups of coffee every day. But those 3 cups of coffee were also giving me anxiety, depression, insomnia, and so much more. So I decided to go on a 30-day no coffee challenge. Now, I will say the problem with coffee is not in the intention of us going to something for energy. It's in the intention of us going to coffee for energy. So it's a bad decision rather than a desire. Now, along my journey, it took me a while to even get to this point of where I stopped drinking coffee entirely, but I gotta tell you guys that I used to work at Starbucks for many years. And because I worked at Starbucks, it was so easily accessible. I had it almost like 3-4 times a day, which is definitely not normal. Now, the thing that's bad with coffee is that it not only spikes your cortisol levels, but it also brings you out of alignment with your circadian rhythm, and it's also destroying your ability to remember. Yes, all of your memories that you love and cherish is destroying your ability to remember those memories. And if you didn't know, it negatively impacts your heart, increases your chances of getting hypertension, and it's really bad for your gut. My schedule kind of looked like this. First thing in the morning, I'd get to work, I'd be opening up, and I would have some iced coffee. It's very convenient and it's free. Why not, you know? This is very early on in my health journey as well. So for me to have iced coffee, I thought, oh, it's not too bad. It's just coffee. It's natural. It's still a plant. For me, it was first thing in the morning, I'm having iced coffee. That'll probably last until maybe like 11 o'clock, maybe 12, something like that. Then I'll be having my second one. And then like around like 1 to 2, I'd probably have lunch, right? Have another one, right? That'll be my third. And then when I'd come back from my break, I would have another maybe around like 5 or 4 o'clock, right when I'm getting off, and I'd have another one at that point. So that's 4 iced coffees. Predominantly, I used to do iced coffee, but I would do iced coffee, the caramel macchiatos, I'd have the double espresso shots. Like I used to have a ton of coffee and all kinds of coffee as well, you know, but primarily just from Starbucks. I never really made coffee at home myself. However, that was my schedule. Now, I was young. I mean, I'm still young, but that was my schedule. And though I was young, I didn't really necessarily need the coffee. And at that time, I thought, it's okay. I'm not aware that it's a drug, but I'm okay. And I just thought, it's just iced coffee. I need this for energy. It's okay. Everyone does it. And I think because we socially accept it as normal and we have this like routine with coffee that encourages us to be okay with having coffee is the reason why most people aren't aware that they are addicted to coffee. And for me, I was just simply unaware of my addiction to coffee. Now, here are the downsides of my addiction to coffee. So when I was really heavy into drinking a lot of coffee, I would crash as well. So I just told you the schedule, right? Anywhere from like 6 a.m. all the way till about like 5 p.m. That's when I would be having coffee. And in between then, I'd have multiple crashes. And at night, it would be really, really hard to sleep. I'd be up close to like 2-3 a.m. in the morning, not knowing what to do with myself just because I'm wired. I'm completely juiced, like a crack baby, just sitting in a room like, is it time to go outside? Shit, we need some old crack, you know? Like, that's how it really was. I honestly looked forward to going to work because I got free coffee all the time. That was kind of my life. I drank coffee not only because it was just very convenient, but also because I wanted to perform better. And honestly, my entire health journey started because I wanted to perform better. I also am a skateboarder. If you're new here, I skateboarded for 15 years, and what started my entire health journey was a number of things, but also because I mainly wanted to have more energy to be able to better perform on my skateboard as an athlete, right? Now, the thing with that is that before skateboarding, I would also have some coffee. And I got low-key, I was aware of this addiction in the addiction, right? I would be aware that I need coffee to be able to perform better. Not because of me actually accomplishing whatever trick it is that I'm accomplishing, but because it gave me the energy, the high, the hyper alertness to be able to feel motivated, focused enough to go and do said trick. And through me having that experience of me trying whatever trick it is on my skateboard, I developed an addiction to that high, but not knowing that it was a high, right? But it helped. I'm not gonna sit here and act like it didn't help, but it definitely helped. So it helped me get in the mood and the motivation, the focus to be able to do whatever I need to do on my skateboard. But long term, it was killing me. It was killing me because I actually used to get, I don't even know if this is the right term, but I used to get like heart palpitations. Like randomly, my heart would feel like it's popping out of its chest. out of my chest, you know? I knew that that wasn't normal, but I also thought maybe it's just something weird going on. I just didn't pay too much attention to it, you know, but I definitely noticed it, you know? But I also was going through a change because I was changing my diet as well. That was something that happened that was really, really bad. And also too, I had a really, really bad acne. And also too, there would be a lot of times where I didn't poop. Now, some people say, you know, coffee actually helps them poop. For me, it actually did not. Now, of course, sometimes I definitely would, but most of the time, coffee definitely did not help me poop. You know, it's funny to think about it. I'm actually glad I got fired. I got fired from that job for reasons that I forgot. I'm actually glad that I got fired. Reason being is because I had to start buying my own coffee. And that actually put me in the perspective of stopping the addiction. So because I got fired, there was this one day where I was really, really deep in my mind about the acne that I had on my face. The girl that I was talking to at the time, I remember she mentioned something about the acne, but she brushed it off and made it seem like it was okay, and she just wanted to care for my ego, etc., just so that way I don't feel mentally messed up because of what she said. Like, she kind of covered her ass, but she was essentially telling me, damn bro, you look like you got rockets coming off of your face. When I went home that night, I actually thought a lot about that. And I remember someone had said something about like coffee consumption contributes to inflammation in the gut and that it helps you get like acne. For me, I went home and I started to think about not only what she had said, but also what this guy had said. You know, that was the very beginning of me stopping coffee. And then there was this whole timeline I had. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna end here 30 days. But if I feel good enough in between and up to this point, then I'm gonna keep going. Initially, it just started as a reset for me. Over time and after the journey, it was like, okay, no, why even go back? Because the real question is this: it's not normal for us to go to something like this so consistently for so-called energy. This isn't normal for us to go to something for energy, but yet we crash after having it. And also what really made me want to embark on the journey of no coffee consumption for 30 days was when I would have the coffee, right, 3-4 times a day, and literally still take naps and feel tired. It doesn't make sense because it's like, why am I even drinking the coffee if I'm crashing? That's like you paying for a car but still having to take the bus, you know? Like, what? Are we just wasting money? Like, what mental crazy house are we in that we completely justify spending money on something for energy but crash in the next 4-3 hours, whatever it is, and need to get more of it? Huh? So now, before I embarked on this journey, I actually came across some guy that was talking about herbs and also mushrooms on the internet. And he was from the UK, very brilliant brother, and he was also into fitness and stuff like that. So he was athletic into wellness. So I was like, okay. So what I did was I just simply took those herbs, wrote them down, and I studied them. And then I came back and I was okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna do this when times get really hard on this 30-day challenge. Now, so that first week was the hardest, I have to say, okay? Because I was so used to having iced coffee. How I got the mushrooms was I got all of them in powders, and I think over time, I believe I got cordyceps and reishi in a tincture. Sometimes it would be all powders. I put it in like a shake. Sometimes it would just be the tinctures and, you know, lion's mane as a powder. It really just depended upon like how the day was, right? Because I was also working, there was a lot that I was doing. Day one, it was like odd and weird, but I managed because I ate a ton of food. Day two, I was like officially a crackhead fiending. So day three, it was really, really hard. And at this point, I was actually really motivated to be able to find a solution to maintain, you know, without having to go back to coffee. I did a lot of research on being able to maximize energy. So day three is when I actually started to use the mushroom powders. And oh my God, let me just tell y'all, the cordyceps is crazy. And cordyceps was the first one that I had, and I'll never forget that I had it in a powder form. Oh no, I'm sorry, a tincture form. So I had it in a tincture form, and oh my God, my energy went through the freaking roof. It was a weird energy. It was like a slow and steady increase, but not nothing crazy like coffee. But I was also not satisfied by it. So that was like week one. So week two is actually when I started to implement everything that I was already studying, right? And then I also started to do breath work. Now, specifically pranayama. Now, and then after the breath work, I started to also work out more, and also I had a high fruit intake. Now, all of this together, like, let me just tell y'all what's crazy, because my body not only was adjusting to something new, but also it was realizing that you don't need coffee and that energy can be given to you in many different ways. Literally just choose any other direction besides having it in coffee form. Like, there's so many different ways to get energy. Yes, it will give you that unhealthy experience or illusion of energy, but it's an illusion. It is not going to actually energize the body. So that third week is when I also saw the power of fruits. Not only does mushrooms, right, give you that energy and full effect on what you need. There's this Mexican grocery store. I would go there, get all the tropical fruits that I could, right? I'm talking dragon fruit, mamey sapote, mangosteen, like these crazy looking avocados that were really, really long. I'd get the jackfruit. That'd last me like 4 or 5 days, honestly. So I'd get that, come back, I'd eat that, and I'd eat only that, or if not watermelon. And my energy would be sustained and also increasing. But when I started to incorporate fruits for breakfast, instead of having my standard American diet breakfast, which is eggs, bacon, and toast for breakfast, I not only detoxed heavily because I was taking poops, but also I noticed a crazy change in my energy. And that energy went from here, right, which is low, and then it got really low because I was doing this challenge. And then eventually on week 3, it went from here all the way up to like here. And at this point, that's when I was questioning, like, damn, why the hell have I been drinking coffee? There's really no reason why anybody consciously would say, yes, negatively impact my heart, negatively impact my adrenals, negatively impact my cortisol levels, negatively impact my entire brain, and also my circadian rhythm. If I ask you that conscious question, like, hey, look, is it okay if I negatively impact these parts of your body? You're gonna say, hell no. So why do we do it? And I can only just say it's through the subconscious programming that they have gotten us. To whoever is out there, whoever needs to hear this, man, when it comes to coffee, you do not need coffee. I not only experienced the benefits of eating fruits for breakfast, but also I did some research, and the research was that when you consume fruits actually hydrate the body more than anything else. And like, they're more hydrative than actual H2O. H3O2 is a hexagonal, right, structured water that comes from fruits and vegetation. There's no other food on the planet that hydrates the way that fruits does, and fuels the way that fruits does, and detoxes the way that fruits does in its natural state. There is no other food that can compete. And now week 4 was really, really crazy. I just got to tell you guys, because I actually came across somebody that has been crazily impactful for my life. His name is Mike. I won't tell you guys his last name, but long story short, I met him at the park randomly. And he's this like 50-year-old man, and all he does is go to the park like super early in the morning and walk. Because when I talked to him, he was telling me like, yeah, I just come to walk. I come to walk. This is like a meditation, you know? He comes to get his mind right, to process his thoughts, right, to think, right? And this has been very, very beautiful for me, because as a young dude, walking has never been something that I intentionally do. I always skateboarded. Like, that was what I did, you know? But when I met him, he told me all about walking. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna just walk with you, OG. Like, we can walk, you feel me? Like, let's walk and talk. You know, he was also talking about business, real estate, investing. So I was intrigued. So why not walk with the OG and learn? So that's what I did. And what I realized was, because it became a routine that I was also working out, I worked out with him consistently, like every day. It was crazy. And we walked in like this 8 symbol, which is the infinity symbol, right? I wouldn't necessarily say that that gave me energy, but that was a really, really, really great start to the day that influenced my thoughts, feelings, and emotions after that. Like, you just get off on the right foot when you go for a walk first thing in the day. You really, really do. That plus also some breath work, and also a cup of like mushroom joe. And now after this experience, I just wanted to say that I did a lot of research on mushrooms, and come to find out, cordyceps not only are primarily for energizing the body. They did a study. Cordyceps are amazing because they boost your stamina, they boost your breathing efficiency, and also that tolerance to when you actually start to get fatigue, right, is boosted. So let's say, for example, you get fatigue here, right, consistently all the time. When you take cordyceps, you can for sure say that it's going to take this amount of intensity before you get fatigued. And now reishi is amazing because reishi actually prevents the system from overworking, for one, and for two, it actually soothes the nervous system because of the beta glucans and also the tryptopans. Forgot the pronunciation, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. And lastly, we have lion's mane. So lion's mane is great because it's a brain booster, right? And also too, fun fact, people don't notice, but usually it takes like time before a supplement goes into effect. However, with lion's mane, it actually takes only 60 minutes. So if you take lion's mane right now, in 60 minutes, you'll start experiencing the brain boosting effects of lion's mane, which is really, really amazing. And also too, it's an adaptogenic. So, and all of these mushrooms actually are adaptogenics. And now if this was helpful, it would mean the world if you guys can like this video, comment, subscribe, just letting me know like your whole experience with coffee. If you were a coffee Starbucks addict, hey, if this was helpful, it would mean the world to me if you can like the video and let me know your experience with coffee. If you're still doing coffee, if you're not doing coffee, you want to get off of it, yeah, let me know down below, and I'll definitely give you some more tips and tricks or whatever, or more to my experience in the comments. We can have a conversation about it. But if you are someone who is looking to increase your energy, lose some weight, get fit within a short amount of time, and break the chains off wellness, there's a link down below where you can schedule a free one-on-one call with me, and we could talk about how I can get you on a plan of action to being able to do just that.